Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the games that left a big mark on the gaming industry through innovative new gameplay or through popularizing trends.
I've been expecting you, my brethren.
No thanks, bro.
Number 30, Resident Evil. There were survival horror games before Resident Evil, however, few, if any, were as successful as it was upon release. Its simple setup of escaping a zombie-infested house while solving puzzles proved enormously popular. Resident Evil helped define survival horror going forward, with things like its inventory management system becoming staples in other games. It also arguably helped revive interest in zombies in movies and pop culture in general, as well as helping push video games in a more cinematic direction. Fortunately, the games that followed it managed to get better voice acting though.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life.
Number 29, Wii Sports. The Nintendo Wii set the bar for motion controls in video gaming, and since most of the world got Wii Sports as a launch title with the console, it did too. The simple motion controls make it incredibly accessible to casual players, particularly since the 5 sports you can play are very recognizable.
Nice throw!
Wii Sports has helped families connect, gotten gamers exercising more, and even assisted some patients with physiotherapy. Nearly every other motion control console that followed the Wii took some of their inspiration from Wii Sports, however, none of its imitators could match the sheer terror that is Matt.
Nice par!
Number 28, Shenmue.
Why?
It may feel clunky by modern standards, but Shenmue was a technical marvel in its day. Dropping the player into a realistic sandbox of urban Japan, Shenmue paved the way not only for games like Yakuza, but also for basically every open world game. Its level of detail, day-night schedule, and millions of mini-games and side quests to do are all standard for most larger games today. It also named and popularized the QuickTime event. Yay for that!
That's it, your history!
Yeah!
While certain parts of Shenmue, like its voice acting, have certainly aged like milk, without it, games today simply wouldn't have the same depth.
What? Go home!
Hey, you!
Number 27, Dragon Quest. Console RPGs owe most of their existence to this one game. The original Dragon Quest, or Dragon Warrior in its North American release, took the complex RPG elements found on PC gaming at the time and streamlined them to make the genre more accessible for consoles. The top-down perspective, hit and experience points, and upgradable spells and equipment have become standard in every JRPG. While it may not have achieved the global success of some of its successors, Dragon Quest and everything about it have become inexorably tied to RPGs in Japan. Number 26, Pokemon Red and Blue versions. You can't spawn a global multimedia franchise and not impact the gaming industry. The first 2 Pokemon games took the world by storm, combining simple yet addictive RPG gameplay with 151 iconic pocket monsters to collect, striking a chord with hardcore and new gamers alike. In addition, the ability to connect with other players locally to trade and battle was innovative. The enormous franchise these games created arguably aided in taking video games from a relatively niche market into the highest grossing part of the entertainment industry. Plus, the unparalleled success of Pokemon Red and Blue helped preserve Nintendo's supremacy in the handheld console market for decades to come. Number 25, Resident Evil 4.
What are they planning? They're gonna be...
Chainsaw.
While the original redefined survival horror games that followed, Resident Evil 4 did the same, while also influencing third-person shooters and action games in general. RE4's over-the-shoulder camera angle quickly became the standard for third-person games. It also expanded the survival horror genre to incorporate more action elements, making it what had previously been a slower-paced gaming category into one with more intensity. Even its QTE action set pieces proved influential. Resident Evil 4 matched its innovative presentation with quality gameplay and a gripping story, such that it's often regarded as one of the best games ever made.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Number 24, Dark Souls. The 21st century has seen a gradual trend towards ease and accessibility in games. Dark Souls went against the grain by delivering punishingly tough action RPG gameplay, and people love it for that. That's really an understatement. Everything from its lore to its boss fights avoids holding the player's hands as much as possible, inviting the player to engage more with the game themselves. Dark Souls and its series have become a byword for difficulty in video games. It also helped spawn an entire genre of copycats called Souls-likes. Even if games do become easier as a whole, Dark Souls has proven that hardcore challenges still has a place among modern games. Number 23, Space Invaders. There have been many influential arcade games, yet few are quite as groundbreaking as Space Invaders. By modern standards, it may look painfully simple. You move left or right and shoot at enemies behind barriers. But so many aspects of video games owe their origins to this one smash hit arcade title. It's essentially one of the first shooters. It introduced fundamental concepts like achieving a high score and having multiple extra lives. Even its simple soundtrack had never been done before. Space Invaders served as the introduction to video games for many future gaming developers like Shigeru Miyamoto, and for that alone, the industry owes it so much. Number 22, Metal Gear Solid.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
It may not have been the first stealth game, or heck, even the first game in its series, but Metal Gear Solid still solidified many things for its genre, its franchise, and just gaming in general. The complex story, memorable bosses, and exciting gameplay remain incredibly fun today. Many aspects of the game, from limited ammo to crouching being quieter than walking, became conventions for stealth gameplay. Additionally, Metal Gear Solid's movie-inspired approach to storytelling helped mark gaming's transition to more cinematic cutscenes, while also popularizing rendering them using the in-game engine. Without Metal Gear Solid, we doubt whether games would be as respected as a storytelling medium as they are today. Number 21, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. As the first 3D Zelda title, Ocarina of Time was destined to be remembered, but it still blew all expectations out of the water. Its huge world, epic story, incredible music, and fantastic combat and puzzles have helped earn it frequent accolades as one of the greatest games ever made. It pioneered several gameplay mechanics, including locking onto targets from afar and context-sensitive button pressing that became pretty commonplace. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time influenced not only 3D adventure games that followed it, but also video gaming as a whole. It's quite simply a masterpiece. Number 20, GoldenEye 007. Although it hasn't aged particularly well, GoldenEye 007 is still rightfully considered an important video game. Essentially, it paved the way for first-person shooters to make the jump to consoles after being almost exclusively on the PC. Its campaign's objective-based missions that feature different gameplay variety, including vehicle sections, became influential for later games in the genre. Perhaps most importantly, GoldenEye's multiplayer mode made it a smash success, and a fixture of college dorms and parties. Perhaps most miraculously of all, GoldenEye 007 proved that movie tie-in games don't have to be terrible. Number 19, Batman Arkham Asylum. A superhero game that rescued its whole genre, Batman Arkham Asylum delivers a suspenseful, satisfying story with great voice acting and spectacular gameplay. It's the last of these that has earned it so many copycats. Its combat system is fluid, acrobatic, and most of all, just fun, and has been imitated by plenty of other games. In addition, Detective Vision, or something like it, has been a hallmark of games across genres since its release. Arkham Asylum didn't invent many of its best features, but it certainly polished them to such a high degree that everyone sat up and took notice.
Always with the hero speed. Ooh, I'm getting bored of watching you. Why don't you just come find me?
Number 18, Bioshock.
Rapture.
The artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality.
This FPS/RPG hybrid wasn't the first of its kind, but it has definitely left an impact on the last few decades of gaming. Bioshock combines political commentary, fast-paced action, and a gorgeously unique setting to create something that captures everyone's attention.
There's two ways to deal with a mystery. Uncover it, or eliminate it.
Its use of audio logs to convey a story combining weapons and magic, as well as a choice between playing more heroically or more like a villain, have all become staples across many gaming genres. While its influence has led to some contend that its flaws are more glaring, we would kindly ask that everyone appreciate Bioshock's merits and the mark it left on gaming.
Would you kindly pick up that shortwave radio? I don't know how you survived that plane crash, but I've never been one to question Providence.
Number 17, Street Fighter II: The World Warrior.
Round one, fight!
The fighting game genre didn't begin with Street Fighter II, but it may as well have. Street Fighter II almost single-handedly brought back arcades during the 1990s and made a big splash on consoles as well. It took everything from the previous game and refined it to perfection, and then its numerous re-releases and remasters redefined them and refined them even further. Its combo system, varied characters who all have their own strengths, and the ability to fight PvP have since become the gold standard for fighting games. Easy to pick up, but difficult to master, Street Fighter II still has a devoted following to this day.
Round two, fight!
Number 16, HalfLife.
Hey, Mr. Freeman. I had a bunch of messages for you, but we had a system crash about 20 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to find my files. Just one of those days, I guess.
Half-Life is one of the most influential FPS games ever made. The player controls scientist Gordon Freeman as he tries to escape an alien invasion in a secret facility. The level of immersion in the game was almost unprecedented, featuring lots of exploration and few cutscenes, telling its story mostly through gameplay and scripted events. Half-Life also features more puzzles and platforming than was typical for the genre at the time. In addition, its engine became the basis for many popular mods, which then went on to become popular franchises in their own right, such as Counter-Strike. Despite its title, Half-Life's legacy has been long.
Got one.
Number 15, Final Fantasy VII. RPGs were around decades before Final Fantasy VII. It was the 7th entry in the franchise after all, but prior to its release, it was still not a widely popular genre of video game, and the few popular RPGs in the West were Western in origin. Final Fantasy VII showed the world that JRPGs aren't just good, they're downright amazing. Final Fantasy VII hit on all cylinders with its engaging characters and massive story. Its huge success contributed to PlayStation's early viability as a console, and ensured that generations of RPGs and RPG fans were influenced by its blend of fantasy and cyberpunk. Number 14, The Sims.
Oh, voila!
Vamos, Nana.
The first major life simulation game, The Sims allows players to simulate the lives of created characters as they go about their days. The degree of freedom allowed in doing whatever you want with The Sims was unprecedented at the time. Everything from daily chores to life-altering decisions are yours to decide on or put off. While deaths occur, it's possible to play it forever, technically speaking. Life simulation has become a common feature in many games since its release, particularly RPGs, and it also helped popularize the life simulator in general. Number 13, Halo Combat Evolved.
And Cortana. Let's give our old friends a warm welcome.
I've already begun.
The first Halo game is aptly named, since while it didn't invent the whole FPS starring a space marine fighting aliens thing, more on that one later, it did mark the next evolution of this trope and FPS games in general. Its controls remain responsive and hold up to today's standards. Its story is ambitious and fits seamlessly with its gameplay.
Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge ASAP. Better follow me.
Its multiplayer was the next big sensation, and its sequel, Halo 2, which nearly made our list, helped popularize online multiplayer on consoles. Halo Combat Evolved also proved a trendsetter with features like a more realistic 2-weapon limit and less realistic regenerating health. If nothing else, it proved you could take gaming soundtracks to a new level of epicness. Number 12, Metroid. Two games birthed the Metroidvania genre, and while Castlevania also definitely deserves a nod, Metroid came first, and we would argue did it better. Metroid follows bounty hunter Samus Aran as she must explore and battle alien villains through the labyrinthian tunnels of an alien world. Instead of the individual levels of its peers, Metroid features a single enormous map, broken up into smaller screens that players must jump, shoot, and roll through, collecting power-ups and defeating bosses along the way. It's also one of the first games to feature a female protagonist, and a badass one at that. While Metroid may not have the mainstream success or recognition of many others on our entries in this list, it has influenced plenty of games, particularly among indie titles. Number 11, PacMan. What's so revolutionary about a yellow circle that eats pellets and avoids ghosts? Well, how successful it was. PacMan was a runaway success, becoming a mainstay of arcades and seeing ports to nearly every system in the 1980s. Not only that, but it also spawned merchandise galore and even a hit song. PacMan fever was real, and it was the beginning of video games becoming not just a niche market, but a big part of the larger one. Oh, there's also the small matter of PacMan's simple yet addicting gameplay and iconic design. What is in those power pellets after all? We need to know. Number 10, Grand Theft Auto 3.
I know this guy. He's connected. His name's Luigi. Me and him go back, so I could probably get you some work. Come on, let's head over there.
There were open world games before Grand Theft Auto 3, sort of, but it wasn't until this game arrived that open world games became what they are today, because everyone copied it. GTA 3 features a map of unprecedented size for its time, as well as the freedom to do just about anything within the aptly named Liberty City. Its influence can be found in open world games and other genres alike, as building games around story missions and side missions is practically a staple of gaming now. GTA 3 has seen plenty of controversy over the years, to be sure, but that has arguably only helped its success.
Joey!
Number 9. Minecraft. You're shocked, I know, we can tell. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 10 years, you know that Minecraft changed the industry, to be sure. With its simple polygonal graphics, Minecraft doesn't look cutting edge by any means, but it's in its gameplay and potential that the game has found its success. The ability to build and craft items after mining for materials is innately satisfying, as is the potential to build nearly anything you can conceive of in a virtual space. Games of all genres have taken cues from Minecraft, and crafting has become commonplace in every other game these days. Not only that, but Minecraft itself has remained popular and is still widely played. Number 8. World of Warcraft.
What can I do for you?
Speaking of long-lasting games, World of Warcraft has been going strong since its release, and it's hardly surprising, it's the MMORPG. Sure, there were other MMOs before it, and there have been plenty after it, but none have attained the meteoric success of WoW or have been as influential on the others. World of Warcraft popularized instance dungeons, as well as raiding with larger parties, and its massive world is at once full of detailed lore, but also built around entertaining the player. The gameplay is addictive, and at its peak, the game had around 12 million subscribers. Number 7. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat may have been riding on the wave of fighting games that followed in the wake of Street Fighter II, but arguably had an even bigger impact on gaming at large. While it is a solid fighter with a more realistic style, some great characters, and all the usual special moves, what really left its mark on the industry is just how violent it is.
Raiden wins.
There has been violence in video games practically since their invention, but Mortal Kombat is almost single-handedly responsible for the modern video game rating system. Without Mortal Kombat, we're sure Mortal Panic Crusaders would have found some other game to get upset about, but as it is, MK has the dubious honor of founding the ESRB and similar organizations.
Liu Kang win. Flawless victory.
Number 6. Doom. Speaking of incredibly violent games, Doom is another that left its mark on gaming. While not technically the first FPS, Doom codified many of its tropes and popularized them, to the extent that for years afterwards, FPS games were initially labeled Doom clones. When an entire genre of gaming is literally named after you, that's when you know you've made it. Doom also introduced the now prevalent Space Marine protagonist, and helped inspire many horror or horror-related games through its demonic enemies. FPS games have dominated a large part of the market for decades, and we wouldn't have any of them without Doom. Number 5. The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda series has been one of the most impactful franchises in gaming history. Though we've already discussed Ocarina of Time and its impact on 3D adventure games, the first game in the series is even more important. The original Legend of Zelda helped pioneer many concepts and features that adventure games still utilize, including a fantasy setting, inventory screens, a minimap, as well as a non-linear overworld that feels years ahead of its time. It was also the first console game capable of saving progress, which is kind of a big deal. As cliche as it is to say, The Legend of Zelda is a legendary part of gaming history. Number 4. Tetris. So simple and yet so addictive. Tetris tasks players with matching blocks of various shapes into rows to eliminate them and prevent them from stacking too high. Studies have been done on the effect playing it has on the brain. It has been remade and remastered countless times on everything from consoles to phones, which has ensured its place among the top-selling games ever made. Tetris essentially started the puzzle genre. Without it, an entire genre of gaming probably wouldn't be the same, and what feels like half of mobile games wouldn't exist. Number 3, Pong. To the modern eye, Pong doesn't look like anything special. It's two paddles hitting a pixelated ball back and forth. It wasn't even the first video game title or the most complex of its peers, but it was the game that jump-started the gaming industry's popularity. Its simplicity meant anyone and everyone could pick it up and play it. Pong was instrumental in the success of not only early arcade machines, but also the first home consoles. It laid the foundation the gaming industry was built on. So yeah, not bad for some little pixel paddles, eh? Number 2, Super Mario Bros. Yep, it was only a matter of time before we got to Mario. While not the famous plumber's first game, Super Mario Bros. Basically invented the 2D platformer, inspiring decades of games and launching one of gaming's longest-running juggernaut franchises. Its controls are precise, its music, characters, and levels are all iconic. Given its degree of success, it's sometimes seen as the game that pulled console gaming out of the hole it was in after the gaming crash of 1983. And because of how widely played it is, the influence of Super Mario Bros. Has echoed throughout the gaming industry. If you look hard enough, you're sure to find something in most games that can be traced back to it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Super Mario 64.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Look, okay, we usually try to keep things to one entry per franchise, but I mean, come on, it's freaking Mario. It's only natural that the biggest landmark games are from gaming's most famous franchise. If Super Mario Bros. Reinvented 2D games, then Super Mario 64 is the benchmark for 3D ones. Open level design and emphasis on exploration echo in open world games today. Even something as simple as an adjustable camera was so revolutionary that there's even an in-game explanation to explain what it is. Super Mario 64 fired the imaginations of gamers and game developers alike, and gave us a whole new dimension to play in. Wahoo indeed! So, is there a groundbreaking video game that you are dying to see on our list? Be sure to share your favorites in the comments.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.